Well, hello, everybody. This is Jim Graham, and I am so fortunate to be on this webinar with all of you, especially because this one is a really, really special one. We're going to be talking about today the fastest and easiest way to make money in 90 minutes. And in fact, it's actually, you can make more money in 90 minutes than most people make in an entire year. And we're going to talk about that later with Taryn Ashley. Now, let me just give you a little background of why I invited you all to this webinar. Okay, number one, Taryn has a very, very special skill, which she's been using to her advantage. In fact, she has been doing webinars for longer than most people have ever done a webinar in their life. And she's done over 15,000. She'll go into a little more detail about that later. The other thing is that her Rolodex of clients are the who's who's of marketers around the world. So you need to understand that she works with the top marketers on the planet to do their webinars for them. So what she does is she does all the webinars for them, and she's going to go through exactly how you can do this as well. And on top of that, she's going to show you an example of one of her students who started and then where they end up after just 3 webinars when it comes to getting the conversion right and getting the people interactive properly and getting the emotion right and that kind of thing. So you can see the difference between starting out to once you get it tweaked and get it right, and then right on in a home run where literally 50% of the people register. 50% of the attendees register for that product, which is really, really something amazing. So Taryn, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Awesome. Welcome to the webinar. Just a couple of little house rules here, guys. There is a questions box, so you can ask questions and they'll be answered at the end. And also, anything that you have to say, want to know more about webinars or anything like that, just type any of that in, because at the end, Taryn will be happy to try to answer those questions as long as there's time. And we'll just go from there. So Taryn, are you ready to go?
I am.
Awesome. Welcome to the webinar, Taryn, and it's all yours.
Alrighty, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Taryn Ashley, and I'm here today to share some incredible information with you. The easiest and fastest way I know how to make money online in just 90 minutes. What you can really call it is fast cash at your fingertips. You know, there's really no other way that is faster to be able to earn this kind of money so quickly thanks to webinars. So I want to thank Jim for having me on with you guys today, and it's an honor and it's a privilege. So again, I'm Taryn Ashley. You can see that's me right there. A little bit of background on me. I've been in the online and webinar marketing industry since 1999. I've been supporting my clients and involved with them and actually helping them profit over $150 million in revenue since 1999. And, you know, you ask, how do I do it? Well, you know, I've been a service provider. I've been supporting them. I've been managing these webinars. In fact, I've actually run over 50 webinars in a single day for my clients. Now, some of you might be wishing you could run 1 webinar a week. So that would be probably about 50 webinars a year. And in my case, it's 50 webinars in 1 day. So I've done well over 15,000 webinars since I've started. And you know what? I get to do it all from home. I have no schedule, and I have the freedom to work from wherever I wish. But that's all thanks to the webinars. And you know, I can do this and have a nice business that's basically like an ATM machine. So, you know, working with my clients by the hour, while they were making tens of thousands by the hour, I'm making literally an hourly rate. And I realized they're making all the money while I'm doing all the work and managing it all for them. And it didn't make any sense. You know, and I thought, hey, I could do that too. And why couldn't I teach, you know, based on all the webinars that I've managed? You know, after managing 15,000 webinars, I have a pretty good idea of how they're supposed to be run. You know, I knew which ones were the winners and which, you know, were being used time and time again, and which ones were the flops. So, you know, some of my clients are A-list marketers from around the globe. See right here, there's Frank Kern, one of my clients. He's a successful internet marketer from the US and considered by many to be one of the top gurus in the internet marketing space today. He has generated $1.4 million in orders in just 4 hours. Can you imagine that, guys? 4 hours and you get $1.4 million. That's what we call the beauty of webinars. So, and also generated $18.3 million in orders in less than 24 hours. Goodness gracious. And you know what? Here's one for you. Sold $1.4 million in 54 minutes at $10,000 per person without the use of affiliates. You know, sit and think about that for a second. You know, and there's also Ryan Deiss, and again, another A-list from the United States. You know, we do a lot of work with him. He is the co-founder of Idea Incubator and Digital Marketer. He's actually invested over $15 million on marketing tests. He's generated tens of millions of unique visitors. He's sent well over 1 billion permission-based emails. He's run approximately 3,000 split and multivariate tests. And you know what? He's a highly sought after speaker and consultant whose work has impacted over 200,000 businesses in 68 different countries. So I'll tell you what, these guys really know their stuff, and they're all doing webinars. So I hope you guys are listening. So, and you know what? Here's Eben Pagan. He is also another American entrepreneur, author, and speaker. He sold over $100 million worth of training products. And another one of our great clients, Kent Clothier. Look at this. By age 23, he was running a $50 million a year business. And then he grew it to $1.8 billion by 30. He is the nation's #1 real estate wholesaling expert. And he himself has over 17,000 students worldwide. And I'm going to tell you what, guys, he got a majority of those through webinars. So, you know what? These top clients, just between the 4 of them, have produced more than $500 million. You know what? And we've got so many other wonderful, wonderful top A-list clients. So I'm going to ask you, how many of you would like to know how to make more money in 90 minutes than you can actually in 1 year? And you know what? Believe me, you can. And like I said, in fact, as you can see, some of my clients have made well over $500,000 in just 90 minutes. Frank Kern, he's made even more than that. So, yep, I see the hands going up. Awesome. Thank you. Yep, great. So I have to tell you, you are in luck. You found the right place. You're here. And I'm going to share with you how to do it so that you can do it yourself. So how many of you have put together a PowerPoint for even a school project or a company presentation? And you know what? It just didn't have the oomph that it needed. And how many of you are afraid of speaking in public? Well, I have to tell you what. This is the great thing about webinars. It's the perfect way to speak publicly without actually being seen. No one will ever see that you're scared to death. They'll never know that behind the scenes you're shaking in your boots and thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can actually do this. What am I doing? Because it's all hidden behind your computer. So, you take into mind everyone that you know, all of these amazing gurus that I've just even talked to you about. And, they just shine in their presentations and on stage, and they have charisma, they've got energy, and they just seem to talk effortlessly through their whole presentation. Well, I just have to say, just know that they all started somewhere. And webinars really are absolutely the place to get started because you don't have to worry about anyone judging you publicly. They can't see the worry on your face. They don't know that you're in an absolute panic. That you may have sweaty palms and feeling clammy. They can't publicly humiliate you or see that you don't know what you're doing quite yet. And you know what? They can't see that you might be feeling, nauseous, having anxiety, feeling panic, all that kind of stuff. Did you know that the idea of making a presentation in public is the #1 fear of people, just even in the US? So I have to tell you guys, you are not alone. It's okay. So, you know what? Do webinars instead. You know what? That's the way you can be the public speaker without actually having to be in front of a huge crowd of people. You know, you don't have to be seen, but you know what? We'll talk more about that later. So what I'm going to be sharing with you today is how to create an emotional slideshow to get more buyers. And, you know, I want to ask you, how many of you would like to know how to make more money in 90 minutes than you can make in 1 year? Yep. I see those hands going up again. And like I said, you are in luck. You are in the right place to find out how. So again, I'm going to share with you guys how to create a winning presentation that will make you more money in 1 day that you could make in an entire year. Also, how to create that emotional slideshow, how to sell 1 to 1,000, how to set up your business so that it's running 24/7 while you're not. You know, how many of you have an automated business right now? And, you know, an automated, what I call ATM machine. Yep. Well, how many of you would love to have that? So I'm going to share with you that and some sneaky little secrets that no one else would ever share with you. So real quick, let's talk about some real life statistics. In 2007, in order to reach a prospect, it would take 3.5 cold call attempts. These days, it takes about 8 cold call attempts. So what does that mean? That means you need to get people to webinars so that you don't have to make so many attempts. You know, we're talking about trying to reach people in all these different facets, and you know, it's really getting so much harder these days to reach that prospect. So, you know, in talking about the important aspects of a presentation when you're doing a webinar, you know, here's what it comes down to. 63% of these viewers remember the stories, and about 5% remember the statistics. So you know what? Stay away from those statistics. They're not really going to help you that much. You know, now let's talk about purchasing decisions for just a minute. Did you know that 70% of buyers want their problems solved? That's what motivates them to buy, is they're trying to solve a problem. And you know what? Here's more proof that webinars aren't going anywhere anytime soon. 55% of registrants viewed the webinar recording. This is more than half of the people that registered for webinar. They're actually going to the recording and not live. And then 65% of audiences are visual learners. So you know what? Make sure you have a presentation when you're doing a webinar. And 52% of marketers have found a customer via Facebook. You know what? Isn't that interesting? And you know what? This year alone, companies will be spending $135 billion. Yeah, that's billion with a B, billion plus on digital marketing collateral. So what does this all mean? First of all, you are in the right place because people are buying digitally. They want a more visual experience, and you know what that all adds up to, people? That adds up to a webinar. So you can find your customers via Facebook, and we're going to share with you how you can actually have these recordings so that you get the maximum bang out of your 90 minutes time spent. So again, you know what? Why do webinars? Well, here's the beauty. You can make more money in one webinar than you can sweating it out all year. You can do more in 90 minutes than you can anything else. You know what? I don't care if you're a bus driver or you make $1 million a year. Some people have made $1 million in 90 minutes, and you know what, folks? I know those people. You can do joint ventures with other people selling their products or their lists and get out to so many people. You know what? You can grow your lists exponentially by joint venturing and making more money hand over fist by selling other people's products. You know what? You can cover the globe with just one webinar. And you know what? If you do it all the right time, you can get from Sydney to London. That's 2/3 of the globe with one webinar. Now you can also, you can present to way more people than actually going to some seminar somewhere and creating more and more seminars. Another great thing is there are no travel costs for anyone. No renting a room, no airfare. You know what? You can do a seminar, no problem. But the presentation that you'd be giving in a seminar is the same one you'd be using for a webinar without the costs. And you know what? You can test your webinars first for sales before you go into a live room and just blow it. You know what the other thing is like I mentioned, there's no cost. Here's the thing. You could go and do a seminar for a whole weekend, maybe get 50 people in a room, spend $4,000 plus in cost. You got travel, food, hotel, everything else. And you know what? You don't have to pay for your staff or a support staff for an entire weekend worth of work when you do a webinar, or an AV crew. You don't have to worry about the unions to deal with or any other huge costs that you incur when doing an event. You know what? You can just go do a webinar and it costs you nothing. You know what, guys? This is huge, absolutely huge, and this is a big one. So here's your choice. You got 50 people in a room, you work really hard on advertising your seminar, you get people in there, scheduling it. You know, you think about it. What happens if people don't show up? What happens if they get overbooked for the room for your event? What happens if your support staff gets sick and you've got all these expenses versus none? Who wants this? You know, you spend thousands of dollars on an event and no one shows up. Well, you know what? With webinars, this doesn't require your attendees themselves to even spend any money to participate. A lot of people don't have the money these days to go to a seminar. You know what? You're coming to them. They don't have to come to you. And they don't have to take time out of work. They don't have to arrange childcare for their kids. And you know what? It's only 90 minutes out of their weekend versus a full 2 or 3 days all day. And your attendees can do it all from the convenience of their own home as well. So you know what? What type of products can you sell from a webinar? Well, the type of products you can sell from a webinar will dictate the kind of lifestyle you have. And you know what, guys? I want you to remember that as well. That's an important thing to think about as well when you get into webinars. So you know what? You choose what type of products or services to sell online. You could do audio, visual, downloadable products, physical products, software. So with audio products, you could do podcasts, audiobooks, audio recordings of a webinar or seminar, music. Then you've got downloadable. There's PDF documents, ebooks or articles. Then there's the physical products. You know what? You can sell your own products or services, or the great thing about affiliates is you can sell affiliate products, reselling their products or services of others or JVs. And you know what? Then there's software. This is the most lucrative. Membership areas you can charge on a monthly basis. You know, there's games. We've got this woman right here, $36,000. Oh my goodness. So here, creating and selling your own products gives you more profit, but you must be prepared to manage and deliver. So you can then have affiliates sell your product for you. And you know what? Here's some things to consider. Try not to trade your time for money. The point is to automate your sales. If you sell, let's say, 6 one-on-one coaching calls for $297, then you know what? You're still charging out a $50 an hour rate. And you know what? You limit the potential of your revenue. To make $10,000 a month, you'd have to sell 33 packages a month and deliver on 200 hours, which is physically impossible. You know what? It would be better to sell 6 one-hour webinars for $297. You know what? Sell it to 100 people, making you $297,000. And you only have to create 6 webinars. And if you think about it, 6 webinars, you know, let's say average, you know, one is they're an hour on average. That's 6 hours versus 200. You know what? And again, what price point? Well, you know, there's $97 for a product. There's $197. There's $497. There's $797. You know, these price points in a payment plan will give you reoccurring income. So like, let's instance, $497 a month or $97 and 6 more payments of $97. And again, another big tip. Once you make the sale, make sure you have an upsell straight away after they purchase and an exit pop-up on the sales page. You only need 1,000 sales at $97 a month, and you could be on your way to $1.2 million a year. If they buy up, you could make up to 30% more revenue. And Alrighty, it seems I was kicked out of the webinar. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? We'll just have to get right back into it. So here we go. I am going to fast forward to right about where I was, make sure that you guys don't miss anything. So hopefully I will stop right about where you, maybe I got kicked out. So you know what? I was talking about the kind of products that you could sell online. And you know what I was talking about is there's audio, there's video, there's downloadable, physical software. You know, with audio products, there's podcasts, there's audiobooks, audio recordings of a webinar, seminar. You know, you've got downloadable products such as PDF documents. You know, you've got ebooks online. There's physical products. You could sell your own products or services. There's affiliate products, you know, reselling those products or services for other JVs. And you know what? Software, it's the absolute most lucrative. You know, you've got membership areas you can charge on a monthly basis, and there's games. And you know what? There is, when you think about it, creating and selling your own products gives you more profit, but you must be prepared to manage and deliver. You know what? You can then have affiliates sell your products for you. And you know what? Things to consider. So first of all, try not to trade your time for money. The point is to automate your sales. If you sell, let's say, 6 one-on-one coaching calls for $297, then you're still charging out at $50 an hour. And you know what? You limit the potential of your revenue. So to make $10,000 a month, you'd have to sell 33 packages a month and deliver on 200 hours, which is physically impossible. You know what? It would be better to sell 6 one-hour webinars for $297 and sell it to 100 people, making you $297,000. And you only have to create 6 webinars. So what price point? Well, you got $97 product, $197 product, there's $497, there's $797. You know, with these price points in a payment plan, they could give you recurring income. Let's see, for example, $497 a month or $97 and 6 more payments of $97. So listen, one big tip. Once you make the sale, make sure you have an upsell right away after they purchase and an exit pop on the sales page. You only need 1,000 sales at $97 a month, and you will be at $1.2 million a year. I'm going to pause and let you guys think about that for a moment. You know what? If they buy up, then you could make up to 30% more revenue. And you know what? If they exit, well, then that's 12% more. But still, that is amazing. You know, I mean, look at this. I'm going to let you guys marinate on this for a moment. So picture this, making more money in 90 minutes than you would over the next 6 months and having more time and more freedom to do the things that you want to do. You know what? That's what it's all about. You know, it doesn't matter if you want to be on the beach with your laptop or if you'd prefer to spend more time with your family. Maybe you want to go on some holidays. You know what? You can do all of this and still do webinars. In fact, my clients have been known to be on vacation and log in and have their webinars started doing it like live, again, which we'll talk about a little bit later. And you know what? I'm going to share with you the easiest way to create an emotional slideshow to get you more buyers. And what I mean by emotional is you have to get the audience involved in the experience. What that means is we have to have the inflection in our voice. We have to have the ups and the downs. We have to help people feel how we feel. You know what? Stress with bills. Hey, anybody been in this situation before? You know what I say? No more. Just do a webinar. You know what? How do you make money these days? Well, the traditional way was working with someone one-on-one. How many of you been in a Starbucks and actually seen maybe 2 or 3 business people talking one-on-one in a meeting? You know, they're actually having their sales calls or something like that, right? Well, one-on-one. Well, since I started doing webinars and realizing how important these webinars are, you know what? I don't meet with anyone one-on-one anymore. I don't have to. If I'm going to sell, I'm going to go after 1,000 people online. I'm going to get them to a webinar. And then, you know what? I'm going to make about a 15 to 20% closure rate on those webinar sales. So if I can have 1,000 people on a webinar, and let's say 15% of those people buy, that's 150 sales. Now imagine, how many one-on-one meetings would you have to have in order to make 150 sales? You know what? I don't have time for that, and neither do you. How many of you aren't making enough money, but working hard, and you want a new way that could literally allow you to make more in 90 minutes than an entire year? Well, like I said, that traditional way was working with someone one-on-one, and that's no more. I mean, this is more proof. Cost comparison of meeting with 100 people, you've got the cost of lost productivity, which is $200. You've got your gas, $5, cups of coffee, $8, time waiting, there's $20. You've got childcare, $20. That adds up to be $298. Now you multiply that by 100 because you're meeting with 100 people. That's $29,800 that you're spending trying to reach just 100 people. And your time is 1 month. That's full time. You think about it. 5 meetings a day, which is 20 days, assuming everybody shows up, and all this. And you know what? Have you ever met with the wrong person and not the decision maker? Well, you know what? This is not the way to go. Look at cost of meeting 100 people on a webinar. Let's say you've got electricity for a laptop, about 13 cents. You've got internet connection, which you already have. The webinar platform you can actually use for free. So your total cost is 13 cents. Huge difference. 13 cents versus $29,000. And you know what? All the time it takes is 90 minutes one time. Just 90 minutes one time. So, you know what? Here's your new way. And I'm telling you, this is really the future of online marketing. You don't even need a website. All you need is PowerPoint or Keynote and an internet connection, and you can be in business. But what you have to do is you've got to create a compelling slideshow that fills your viewers with emotion. You have to get them involved emotionally. They have to feel where you're coming from. They have to understand and connect with you. And you do this through your slideshow. So how do you do this? Well, it's by sharing a story. You know what? Here's my story. I started back in 1999. I was working very hard to build my business and my client base. You know what? I was putting in tons and tons of hours into building my network and relationships, and I was working for my clients and earning my money by the hour. And I was working hard, doing up to 50 webinars in one day at $150 an hour. Although that sounds like good money, I was still trading my time for dollars. It wasn't all it was cracked up to be. That $150 an hour that I was charging was nothing compared to what my clients were making, sometimes upward of $1 million or more just from one webinar. Well, I made about 300 and they were making $1 million. Now tell me, what is fair about that? So you know what? That's what caught me. That's what had me say, wait a minute, what am I doing? I can do this too. You know what? I was doing all the work. I was providing all the technology, the support, the knowledge. I was on the hook. I was the responsible one. All they had to do was tell me which one to play. I always had to show up, and most of the time they didn't even ever need to be there or show up. And I wasn't getting paid what I thought I deserved. And anyone in that position right now, well, you know what? Where you're selling for someone else or doing all the grunt work for someone else, and you'd like to be selling for yourself. So here's what you have to do in order to create a story. You have to describe what the problem is you're solving. In my case, I was tired of working for someone else for a lower dollar amount when I could be making bigger money. And you know what? You have to define who your target audience is. Who is it that you're going to speak to? What kind of problems is your target audience having? Describe these challenges in detail. Once you get all the way through this, now all of a sudden you actually, what I call, have magic. You know what? Then you start talking about your story, your history, all that together, and now you've got it. Remember, the lower the low in your presentation, the more you'll sell. So you've got to keep that in mind when you're going through your presentation. So let me show you how simple it is to create a converting presentation with my template system in just a few minutes. So now I'm going to show you how to uncover the way to create a winning presentation that makes you more money. Listen, when your presentation is structured in a certain way and contains the right pieces, you will have a formula for making money for yourself time after time after time. So let me give you an example of a presentation for just a little product you could sell online. Now, most of you are familiar with Microsoft Office, right? All right. And you know what? We probably have all used Microsoft Office, and at times we probably even call it the necessary evil because there are so many things you can do with it. But we can never remember what we can do with it, right? So here's a presentation that I just created right here, really, really quick, to share with you how you can actually get people to buy even a $47 product. So this is called Microsoft Office, the quickest and fastest way to producing amazing spreadsheets without remembering all the details. You know, so there's my name, there's my photo. Well, actually, not really, that's not me, but make sure that you include your photo and your name so that you can build rapport with your audience. And you know what? Then we have to say the who, what, why, where, and how of you. For example, you know what? I work with Microsoft Office products since 1985, and I've helped small and large companies to increase productivity through my simple steps and shortcuts, saving the average business person over 200 hours a year with working with Microsoft products. You know what? My clients are global, and I work from my laptop. I conduct weekly group training webinars and also consulting. And I work in the Mac platform as well as the PC platforms. You know what? It really doesn't matter because I can work with both. So let's talk about Excel. Well, this is the necessary evil. How many times have you actually wanted to do something with Excel, but you couldn't remember the formula? You couldn't even remember how to do it. Well, then you go to Google and you search for the answer, and that takes forever because there are a bunch of YouTube videos. You watch the videos and that doesn't work. And then you waste a bunch of time watching these videos and it's still not the answer you're looking for. Or maybe you bothered a coworker or a partner. Maybe you're embarrassed to ask a stupid question when actually it's really not a stupid question. It's just that, you've forgotten how to do it because, even though you've done it before, you just forgot. And then you feel generally frustrated, right? Well, because you could waste half an hour or more trying to figure out something that's really, really simple. But think about this, though. Here's the solution. I'm going to share with you some of these insider secrets. These are shortcuts, and here's just a slide with some graphics of some of, the main shortcuts or the formulas. And you know what? Now you could put these on different slides as well. But the point is this, we talk about the pain, we talk about the suffering, we talk about the emotion of not knowing what to do. You know what? Not getting the answer, wasting a bunch of time, say 200 hours a year. And now we're talking about the solution, right? So which, is these insider secrets. So here's a slide with some more insider secrets. Here even some more tips for building more value. This happens to be how you apply borders to cells, and you can also be on separate, this can also be on separate sides as well. And then so that I ask, do you think these strategies could help you save time and money? Well, imagine being that Excel guru amongst all your peers, your Excel spreadsheets, wowing your viewers, saving a huge amount of time, having more time to do the things that you want to do, and best of all, having more fun. You know what? That's what it's all about, right? So if you could get that Excel job done faster, make it look more beautiful, more effective, you now are the guru around your peers, and you'll be the one sharing information with them. And so here's the next part. I come and, I've shown you just a glimpse of the available strategies, shortcuts, and the tips that I have available. And you know what? The fact is, you could keep doing it the way you've been doing it and wasting time. You could be searching online, searching Google, asking your peers, maybe asking some pretty dumb questions from time to time. And, you're asking the same thing over and over again, wasting time, not having, a beautiful, effective spreadsheet or anything. Or you could do it the easy way. So how many of you would like to have this information at your fingertips with just a click of a button? Well, you know what? I call it the Excel one-click shortcuts. That includes lifetime unlimited access to the membership area, a value of $9.97. You've got the iOS and Android shortcut app with the shortcuts right on your phone, your iPad, or your tablet. That's a value of $4.97. You've got the monthly group webinars for sharing strategies, shortcuts, and tips. That's a value of $9.97. And even Facebook group, you can, that's also what you get for even faster assistance 24/7 with other students and support staff with a value of $9.97. That all adds up to a value of $3,488. Imagine having all of this at your fingertips, even new strategies all the time going into your membership area because it's being shared by the users. Now, let me just ask you something. If you could save just 200 hours a year, would that be worth $3,448? So, okay. So let me ask you. You work 40 hours a week, and 200 hours would be about 5 weeks for $3,448. That's a huge, huge value that anyone would pay for. How much would you pay for a 5-week vacation? You know what? I can tell you much, much more than that. So, how many of you have $47? That's all it takes to get you in. Just go to exceloneClickShortcuts.com/live, and $47 is all it is. In fact, you're in for life. Just $47 one time. Just go to exceloneClickShortcuts.com/live. This is your ticket for $200 to get 200 hours back per year and being the guru in your peer group when it comes to using Microsoft Excel. So thank you very much for the presentation. I look forward to seeing you in the membership area and all the great webinars coming up. We'll talk to you really soon. All right. So can you see how simple it was just to create a quick emotion to appeal to your audience, describing a problem and then providing a solution that everyone wants to buy? Well, I have to tell you what, 15,000 webinars in 15 years. I work with my clients every day and I advise them on how to do better. You know what? I'm going to show you an example of a student who did their webinar before consulting with me and then after consulting with me. So here's an example of before. You see something happen in the graph? What do you notice? Yep, an incredible dip. You can see in this moment something went wrong in the presentation and he lost more than 50% of his viewers halfway through. What happened? Well, there wasn't much interaction with the viewers. He lost his audience, completely disconnected from them. I don't even have to listen to the webinar to know that something happened here. And look at this, less than 5% conversion. That's 5 sales out of 100. That's less than minimum wage, guys. Who wants less than minimum wage these days? Imagine if you're paying for good leads to get people into your webinar and you just lost half of them because of a simple mistake. You know what? He lost the audience and never fully recovered. Well, after I went through the webinar and the presentation and I added my input, we did another one. And look at the difference. It's incredible. No one left until the sales closed at the end, which is typical. You know what? They stayed on. The number kept growing and growing. The people were engaged. You know what? They were interacting and the sales were 30%. Now, when you get 30 sales out of 100, now we're talking some big money. Who wants to risk losing half their viewers because they made a stupid mistake? When all you have to do, hey, you know what, is join my program. Think about this. Before, 5 sales out of 100. Again, that's less than minimum wage. And then 30 sales out of 100. Now, when you get to 30 sales out of 100, like I said, and let's say your product is $3,000, that's $90,000 in revenue. And you know what? That's in 90 minutes. Now, some of you may not be making that in an entire year, and we can do that in just 90 minutes. And then look at this. This is a webinar that my client, a student did just yesterday, and we made even more little tweaks. And from this one, there are 7 appointments scheduled for tomorrow alone. So now you understand the difference between potentially making minimum wage or less or making big money. All because of a change in the presentation. That's all it was. So look, I'm going to cover even more benefits of doing a webinar. You've got the convenience of doing it in your own home. You can do it from anywhere in the world if there's Wi-Fi. No more having to go to the office. You can leverage your time. The amount of people that you can reach is amazing. It's very automated. In fact, it's the most automated business online. And you know what? You don't really need a website. You don't even need an email list. So let me ask you, out of these things right here, how many of you want to be a part of doing a webinar? Yep, I see the hands going up. Thank you. Yep, thank you. Awesome. Yes, great. Good to know. Alrighty. So you know what? Look, you can even do this from the convenience of your own home naked. Isn't he adorable? Well, actually, here's more of what it'll probably look like while you're doing your webinar. You're smiling, you're sitting up straight, you have your headset on so that you can be heard. You can do this from anywhere in the world that you wish, and that is the beauty of it all, guys. So now you've got your presentation ready to go. It's looking snappy. Now let's go to the webinar. So look, I've shown you all these different tips and strategies in order to have your emotional presentation. So here's how to get it right. You know what? Always start on time and have at least 2 hosts at the same time. And what I mean by this is have someone else to back you up in another network. You know, not in the same home or the same network. You've got to be somewhere else. That way, if you lose power or internet in one place, you've got it in the other so that you don't lose your sales. And you don't make sure they're absolutely on a different internet connection, streaming from different rooms. And you know what? Here's the thing, guys. Mentally prepare yourself for what you're about to do, because this is the difference between winning or not winning. And this is important. You know, imagine that you're about to run a race, the race of your lifetime. You study the course, you know where you have to make your turns, you know where you need to be on the track. You're going through it all in your head exactly, step by step, where you're going to be at that moment, you know, being ahead of the pack, going around the turn, beating everyone else. Your mind has to be in it. It is just like a race. You know, you have to know every slide, exactly where you're going to, what you're going to do on every slide, all the way through. You just see it in your head, and you know what? And you're ready to start. So when you're delivering your presentation, be excited about your product or service and what you're talking about in your presentation. It comes through in how you speak and the inflections in your voice, and your audience will be able to get that emotion and energy in your voice. You know what? Be prepared. Smile. They can tell if you aren't. They can feel it through your voice. You know what? You can tell that I'm smiling, right? Well, you know what? The next thing is you have to engage your audience with questions and, you know, mentioning them by name and how many of you are doing this and raise your hand if this, and, you know, keep them in the game, and you're going to have more sales. Interact with the audience. Ask them what kinds of problems they have. Maybe ask them what kind of business they have. Things like that, so you can help them clarify those problems and ask them what's stopping them from getting the results that they're looking for. Because when you can get that out of your viewers, you're now going to have a magical webinar where your viewers are connecting with you emotionally, and they're going to buy from you. So now, I'm not really crazy about this, but this is a fact. 90-minute webinars will get you the highest conversion. You know, to be honest, I'd rather it be 15 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe even 45. But you know what? At the end of the day, 90 minutes is going to be the highest conversion. So you really have to stick to right about that time. And now, in order to do a 90-minute webinar, you have to get about 100 slides. You know, that's what it takes. You think about, on average, about a minute or so per slide for a 90-minute webinar. So also, you know what, before the webinar, make sure that you communicate with your participants via email to make sure that they arrive early to download the GoToWebinar software. Make sure that it's the right presentation. You know, you never want the wrong presentation. Many of us have had that same presentation over and over and over again. You know, maybe it has a different ending, or maybe there's a different offer, maybe a completely different product, but it all starts off the same. So you know what? Make sure that you make the effort to have the right presentation to play, because you know what? You don't want to be embarrassed at the end. You'll lose credibility and definitely, without a doubt, sales. You know what? Also ensure that your sales process is working. Your autoresponders, your buy now buttons, make sure all of that is in good working order. I have to tell you, I've been on webinars with clients before where they didn't do this, and their sales pages weren't working, and they lost money, big money. So this is another huge tip, you guys. So you know what, make sure that you've properly ended the webinar, because if you haven't and you're talking or you change your screen, you know what's going to happen is some of your viewers are going to see what you're doing and also hear what you're saying. So make sure that the webinar has ended before you do anything. Maybe even keep it silent for a couple minutes, and then make sure that you have everything shut down, turned off, so that you can start talking and go to any screens you want. And always have your webinar recorded. Always save your recorded webinars. You never know when you're going to have a good one, and when you do, you know it. It's like hitting it out of the park. You can feel it all the way through. The energy is great. The interaction's amazing. You know what? So always record your webinar, because you'll never know when you are going to have that just amazing one where everything lines up. And another thing is, you know what? Store it in Amazon S3. It really works the best. You know what? Also, be sure to go to the restroom before the webinar. Otherwise, you could lose sales if you leave. And you know what? Be sure not to use animations and lots of transitions, moving images or words in your presentation. They end up taking up too much bandwidth, and they ruin your attendees' viewing experience. Another thing, don't clutter your slides with too many images and words. This becomes confusing and distracting to your audience. And you know what? Make sure your audience is always muted. This can create a lot of background noise and distract your viewers from your message and presentation, as well as make sure that your audience cannot see other viewers' questions and comments. This can absolutely be distracting. We want to keep our viewers focused on our presentation, not, outside influences and being distracted. And the other thing is, in addition, make sure that you don't have any noises going on in the background where you are, maybe a dog, or you got a window open and there's street noise coming through, or, maybe the kids are running around and playing in the background. This can distract your audience as well as you, or get you out of your groove of the presentation. It needs to really be quiet so that you can keep your viewers focused on your message. Another thing is turn your phone off, turn Skype off, all the chat programs, all the notifications, the bings, the bangs, and the bongs, and everything else. The last thing you want is that to be a distracting as well and interrupt you and take you away from your train of thought. So you know what? Just don't have it around so you can focus on the presentation. And you know what? Never do a webinar from a mobile or phone or tablet. When this happens, you lose your audience and sales, because the signal goes in and out, and it's just not as consistent as a computer. And never do a webinar. Also be sure not to send your audience anywhere outside of your webinar until it's time to give them the URL to buy or sign up or participate. Once they leave, you lost them and your sale. So what this means is, don't put any logos at the beginning of your webinar. Save that for the end. Don't put your domain name or anything like that. No branding in the beginning, because people will be off searching the internet while you're speaking to them, and they won't be paying attention. You know what? And you really want to avoid doing webinars outside, because in the sun, you'll overheat, possibly burn, in the wind. They'll cause a lot of distracting background noise, as well as your audience, not being able to hear you clearly. Now you know the most important rules of conducting a webinar. Now let's talk about you getting people to a webinar. In order to sell 1 to 1,000, we use Facebook. We invite people to a webinar. We go to Facebook and create an event, invite those people to that event. Here's an example of a Facebook event right here. You see the nice, beautiful graphic, Authority Fusion. Here's what it says, zero pitch webinar. It's just joining and learning, the register in droves for a webinar. You can also do a Facebook ad to a highly targeted audience and get registrants to your webinar. How many of you have an ATM machine at home? Well, a webinar is absolutely a live ATM machine and a passive ATM machine. Look at that. It's just an ATM machine pushing out cash 24/7. What you're about to discover is the incredible power of having your business run 24/7 while you're not. You know what? This will give you a whole new perspective on life. You see the possibilities, know the right pieces to put in play. No more chasing your tail ever again, because these replay webinars will be working for you when you are not. You can accomplish this with this little box right here. Record your webinar, upload to Amazon S3, have it ready to go for what it's called like live, and use this little box. This is the big one. This is why I've done 15,000 webinars over the last 15 years with the top marketers around the world, because of this little box. You have to have this. What this does is an incredible little thing, which I'm going to share with you. I'm going to make it's going to make your video recording look and sound live to the audience. This is something that's incredibly special. So now you have your webinar recorded and it's converting. Now you have something for replay and like live. So what's like live? Well, you plug the box into the audio in and audio out. When you press play on your video, the audio out goes into this box and it's converted back into audio in your computer so that when it's playing, the audio is separate. This is what all the big guys are doing, but they don't even have the box because I do. Now you can start having what the big guys are doing and have like live webinars. And again, this is why I've done 15,000 webinars over the past 15 years, because I make the recording look like live. This is what we want to do every time. You know what? My clients don't even have this. I won't sell it to them. They've offered me thousands for this, and I have never sold it. But I have an offer for you today where you can get one for free. So now you have a passive way of making money into the future. You've got, you recorded, it's ready to go whenever you want to run it again. You can have JVs and make money passively from their list as well. You can even have someone else play it for you like live. So you have two ways of making money now. One with live webinars and one is with like live webinars. How many of you want to make $5,000 a month? Just raise your hand. Oh, I see it. Yep, I see a slew of hands raising up. I don't blame you. So, imagine just making $1,000 a week. That's $4,000 a month right there. And then every once in a while, you get that extra week in your month, and there's your $5,000. Now you're at $60,000 literally passive. So, are you ready to make a shift? Well, my ultimate tip, though, you will not have real or passive income unless you actually do it. If you don't do them, you'll never make the big money. And this is where most people fail. They just don't do the webinars. You know what? Don't have a face for video? It's okay. You have a face for webinars. No camera needed, just a computer, your voice, PowerPoint or Keynote, and Wi-Fi. And no one has to look at you. You could be in bed doing your webinar. So would it be okay if I showed you how I can help you even more than I have today? So how do you know my program will work for you? Well, boy, I have a testimonial after testimonial from the top guys around the planet. They are doing webinars. You know what? And here's one from Ryan Deiss. I'm going to play it for you. The sound was a little wonky for you. Sorry about that. So we'll just go back. I had to turn the volume up a bit. Alrighty. So we were at Ryan's testimonial. You know what? It's been phenomenal working with him. We absolutely enjoy working with he and his team. And like he said, you know what? We've been doing webinars with him since he started doing webinars. It's absolutely fantastic. And it's such an honor to be able to work with people like Ryan. He says right here, we've been using Taryn Ashley services for as long as we've been doing webinars. She and her team are the only company that I know of that can do simultaneous webinars, which we need. And we wouldn't trust anyone else. You know what? And here's Brendan Burke. I'll play his testimonial. Maybe you can hear it this time. Alrighty. So you know what? $6,500 in 90 minutes. And you know what? Brendan didn't even have a product. And you know what? A couple days later, he created a presentation, did a webinar, and again, $6,500 in his first webinar in 90 minutes. That's crazy. So listen, you can do this all yourself. I've just shown you how, how to create an emotional slideshow to get more buyers, how to create a winning presentation that makes you more money in 90 minutes than most make in a year, how to sell 1 to 1,000, how to set up your business to run 24/7 with Like Live. But the fact is, there's no comparison to the benefits of my program. Now, I could make this entire program extremely affordable to own, who would be interested in getting involved right now? All right, let's see. Oh, look at that. I see hands going up. That's great. Everybody wants in, right? All right. So, because you made the effort to be here, I'm going to make a special offer today. You know what? Raise your hand if you would be interested in the easy way. Yep, more hands going up. Wow, that's awesome, you guys. Thank you. Yes, I am honored. Oh, goodness. So, you know what? My solution is webinar formulas. So here's what you get. You get my converting template so that you can create a high converting presentation just like the big guys. All you have to do is go to webinarformulas.com/live and click on the button to get going straight away. And I don't have that many spots available. However, you know what? Let's get started right away. The first one in wins. You're going to learn how to create a winning webinar, how to use PowerPoint and Keynote. Now, guys, how many of you know how to use PowerPoint and Keynote? Well, let me tell you something. There are some tricks. There are some little secret strategies that could really make your life easier and help you have a smashing presentation. I'm going to teach you how to use Camtasia to edit, render, and get your videos ready for replay or Like Live. I'm also going to teach you how to use ScreenFlow to edit and render and get your videos ready for Like Live as well. I'm going to help you set up a GoToWebinar account and how to schedule the webinars, how to use GoToWebinar, and how to generate reports. I have to tell you, the most important part is generating the reports by far. You've got to be able to read these and know your statistics. I'm going to show you how to get a domain name for your webinar registration page, your sales page, and to run your webinar Like Live. I'm going to show you how to get a domain name for your webinar registration page, your sales, when I'm going to show you how to get a WebEx account, if that's what you choose. I'm also going to show you how to get a Webinars on Air account. This is the Google product, Webinars on Air, which we're on right now. I'm going to show you how to set up your autoresponders so that you can build your database and your list so that you can sell more to your audience. I'm going to share with you how to create a converting sales page very, very quickly for these webinars. I'm going to show you how to use Infusionsoft with your GoToWebinar account. I have to tell you something. There is a little trick in Infusionsoft that is crazy good, where you can literally invite your entire database to a webinar, and those people in your database, they didn't even actually sign up, but because they're opted in, they go right in. I'm going to show you how to use Amazon S3 to host your Like Live videos. I'm going to show you how to use YouTube to host your Like Live videos, how to use Vimeo to host your Like Live videos, and then also how to use Wistia to host your Like Lives. There are a lot of options out there, and you want to be able to take advantage of these. Some are less expensive than others, and some work better than others, and I'm going to go through that with you. Most importantly, I'm going to show you how to set yourself apart from your competition. I'm telling you, your competition, if they're doing webinars, is going to be far behind you. It'll be incredible. Remember, my Rolodex is the top 100 marketers around the planet. Imagine having these skills, the 15,000 webinars of experience that I have, that you can now have these skills to be able to beat your competition and have profound sales results as a result of doing webinars. I'm going to show you how to set up profitable JV relationships where you can actually sell your products and services to someone else's list, or when you have the list that they can sell their products or services to your list, where you can actually make some money fast. You know, I'm going to show you how you can position yourself as a middleman for easy profits. Look, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And if you're in the middle, you can make a lot of money with a very little effort. You know, I'm going to show you how you can position yourself as an expert, even if you're not. No expertise needed, believe it or not. You don't even have to be an expert. I'm going to show you how to create a product from your competition's products. And then on top of that, you know, how about making huge money by creating a white label product of your own to let other people sell it? And you can build your database having other people sell your product under their brand, but it's really yours. And you're able to build your database and a list for yourself and make big money. You know, imagine this. You know, we call it a business in a box. What we do is we have a product. Let's just give you an example, like the Microsoft Excel product. How many of you would like to have that little Microsoft Excel product as your own, right? Well, you could have your own domain, you could have your own sales page and your own webinar, and you could be selling it to your list, making all the money. Let me tell you, that's what it's all about. And that's what's called white labeling, or again, like what we call business in a box. I'm going to share with you how to create your own online ATM machine, paying you around the clock. You know what? Just go to webinarformulas.com/live. I'm going to show you how to create a database in just a few days using Facebook of all the things to build a huge, huge database. You know, here's an example right here. 5,185 people registered for a single webinar in just 48 hours. You know what? Imagine having 5,000 people registered for your webinar. You can literally get 1,000 people on, and if you have a 20% conversion rate, you're going to have 200 sales at whatever, you know, the amount is you're selling your product or services, you know, right from this database in 2 days. You know what? Who wants an additional 5,000 people in your database in just 2 days? Let me see some hands. Yep, I know. I see it. I see those hands going up. So again, you know what? Just go to webinarformulas.com/live. Again, let me spell it for you. It's WEBINARFORMULAS.com/LIVE. I got dyslexic there for a moment. You know, I'm going to show you how to use all the social media platforms to get this targeted traffic. You know what? And then also what you must know about merchant accounts. This is the buy now button, right? So you've got to know the secrets, you know, the ins and the outs of it all. And also, you know what, how to set up your own webinar system. Maybe you'd like to do webinars for other people. How about that? You know what, how many businesses do you know that would love to do webinars, but they're not? And you could actually do them for those businesses for a percentage of the sales. You know, I'm going to give you that blueprint for generating limitless income. It's my blueprint, and it's what I've done 15,000 times, and it's now going to be yours. And you know what? This is a big one, guys. This is something you'll never see anywhere else. I'm going to give you the top 5 performing recorded webinars that have generated my clients millions. Can you imagine? And these are all yours. You can review their videos. You know, these webinars, and you know, you can create an exact duplicate of their presentation. You know what? You just change their product, you just change your product for theirs, and now you've got magic. You know, you also get lifetime access to the Webinar Formulas membership area. You know, it's members only, it's private. So also, we're going to have monthly group coaching calls online, you know, to answer any questions and to give you support. You know, then there's also the private Facebook group. You know, this is the Facebook group where literally you can ask questions 24/7, and our staff is going to be there, and other users are going to be in there as well, and you can get help in there faster. You know what? On top of that, one-on-one coaching. There's 3 easy steps to get your webinar going. And I tell you what, if you work really hard at it, and you could have your webinar up and going in just 2 or 3 weeks, but it takes effort, and you've got to do it. So I'm going to share with you also these how to make these money making tips on membership businesses that make thousands of dollars a month in residual income, all in the membership area. And then also on top of that, how to be an expert in your niche and get paid for it even if you're not. Isn't that amazing? You can be an expert if you're not. So let's go through this really quick. I'm going to show you how to create a winning webinar, how to use PowerPoint and edit, add, delete, how to use Camtasia to edit and render and modify all your videos, how to use ScreenFlow to edit and render and modify your videos, how to set up a GoToWebinar account, how to use GoToWebinar, we're starting and running and everything in between, how to generate reports. This has a value of $2,779. Then on top of that, how to get a domain, how to get a WebEx account, how to get a Webinars on Air account, how to set up an autoresponder account, how to create a sales page, how to use Infusionsoft with your GoToWebinar account, how to use Amazon S3 for your videos, how to use YouTube for your videos. All of this has a value of $3,176. You know what? Then there's how to use Vimeo for your videos and how to use Wistia for your videos, setting yourself apart from your competition. You know, how to create JV relationships, how to use Google to market your webinars, how to position yourself as a middleman for easy profits, you know, how to create a product from your competition and how to white label your product for extra profits. You know, all this alone has a value of $3,176. You know, then there's how to drive traffic to your webinars, how to create a product from experts, how to create a database in just a few days, how to use Facebook to market your webinar, how to use LinkedIn to market your webinar, how to use YouTube to market your webinar. Important things to know about merchant accounts. With these alone, it's a value of $3,176. And on top of that, how to create a PayPal account, how to create a buy now button, how to set up your own webinar system. You know, you also get my blueprint for generating limitless income. You get the proven webinar formulas used by the globe's top marketers, how to create money-making membership business that makes thousands of dollars a month in residual income, and how to be an expert in your own niche and get paid for it. These alone have a value of $2,779. You know what? Then there's the one-on-one coaching with a value of $3,997, and quite frankly, it's actually priceless. You know, then there's a template to create a high-converting presentation. That has a value of $1,997. The lifetime access to Webinar Formulas membership area, that's $2,997. Then you've got the monthly group coaching calls at $997, the private Facebook group at $997. You know, all of this has a value of $10,985. You know what? Just go to webinarformulas.com/live. You know what? And then on top of that, guys, this is the big one right here, the one I was talking about, the special bonus. This is huge. Like I told you earlier, I've never done this before, and I'm going to give you a Like Live interface box. It's going to be shipped straight to you so that you can do your replays straight away with this Like Live box. Again, remember, my clients don't even have this, but my students do. This has a value of $397, but you know what, quite frankly, it's really priceless, absolutely priceless. Because you know, like I said, my clients have offered me thousands and thousands of dollars for this box, and I wasn't selling it to them. I'm not selling it to them, but I'm giving it to you. You know, another special bonus I have is an ebook on how to make money in 90 minutes. It's called Taryn Ashley's 90-Minute Online ATM Machine. No websites needed. This has a value of $397. You know what? With a total value of $26,865. You know, how many of you have just $497? You know, if you have $497, we can get you started right now. Just go to webinarformulas.com/live. Again, that's webinarformulas.com/live. You know what? And then it's just 5 easy payments of $497, and that's it. So it's $497 today and 5 easy payments of $497. Now, guys, let's say, you know, you have a product that costs even just $100, and in the first 30 days, and you don't think that you could sell at least 5 of those on a webinar, this would make your payments, right? Well, imagine if your product was even higher, let's say a $4.97 product. Well, one sale of your product pays for your payments. If you made one sale a month, this is free. So how many of you would like an even better deal than that? Well, just $2,997 one time saves you $493. And again, some of you have higher priced products, and one sale may be all it takes to have this entire program for free. Just go to webinarformulas.com/live. Again, guys, this has a value of $26,865. Listen, don't let money keep you from achieving your dreams. Don't let that happen. If you're having a money issue and you can't come up with a $4.97, I want you to message me now in the chat box. It's private, no one can see it. And I want you to give me your email address and your Skype. And you know what? I'll talk to you afterwards. But let's see if we can work something out. But don't let money keep you from achieving your dreams. I'm Taryn Ashley, and you know what? Thank you so much for your time and effort to be here today. I hope you have learned a huge amount from this webinar. I've enjoyed my time with you, and I absolutely look forward to seeing you guys inside Webinar Formulas.
Wow, Taryn, that was really, really something else. Every time I hear your presentation, it just gets better and better and better. And I can just feel it for everyone that's on the call that this is really, really something that everyone should do. There are questions coming out everywhere. Can you hear me okay, Taryn?
I can.
Okay, great. Okay, so here's a question. How quickly can I start making money when I join your program? What does it take in order to do that?
You know what? It really, we got to get you in. We have to get you through the membership site, get you to creating your PowerPoint presentation, get you all set and going. And like I said earlier, if you stick to it and you do everything that you need to do, and you're on a mission about it, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. Awesome. Okay, and that's where you got to make it a priority, right? I mean, people, if they just spend the time to do the come up with the information, take the template, create the presentation, and like we shared that with Brendan. Brendan, in 3 days, he didn't even have a product, and he sold from a webinar a YouTube product in 3 days and made $6,500. But you've got to put it takes hours to do this, but once you get it going, now you've got your ATM machine. Okay, so Taryn, here's another one. Excuse me. When it comes to making money on webinars, do you have to use PayPal or can you use some other merchant services? Do you know?
You know what? No, you don't have to use PayPal. You can, if you've already got another merchant account that you're using or that you like, you can absolutely use that. The reason why we recommend PayPal is because a lot of our students don't have a merchant account yet. And PayPal, it's quick, it's fast, it's easy to set up, and it takes nothing. You don't have to go through any verification process. It's just you get in, you create your account, and you're done.
Got it. Excellent. Okay, so here's another question here. Taryn, if I don't know PowerPoint, how hard is it to learn PowerPoint?
You know what? It's not hard at all, and I tell you what. Remember, I mentioned in earlier is that in our membership area, we actually teach you all the things that you need to know in order how to create and how to create a PowerPoint, how to edit, how to add slides, how to hide slides, all that good stuff. So don't if that's what's holding you back, don't let it, because compared to everything else, that's the easy stuff, and we've got that covered in our membership area.
Got it. Okay, here's another question here. I don't have a product yet. Can you help me with figuring out what kind of product to sell?
Absolutely, we can. Absolutely, we have several students who they started out with no products at all, and you can. You don't have to have a product to do webinars. Like I mentioned, you could sell affiliate products. You could go to other people who have, other businesses who they have products or services to sell and do the webinars for them. So, you want to do webinars. You don't like having a product is not required to do webinars.
It's not required at all. In fact, what you can do is you can actually just interview other experts and create a product from that, can't you?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, cool. And here's another one. If I have an ebook, can I sell an ebook from a webinar?
You can. I would recommend though having that sort of be the initial sort of offer, but you can definitely sell an ebook from a webinar.
Cool. Okay. And then here's another question here. When you talk about getting traffic, do I have to use social media? Is there some other way that I can get traffic?
There's tons of ways that you can get traffic. You can do pay-per-click, you can do Google Ads, you can do all that kind of stuff. But what we have found that to be the most effective way to get traffic to your webinars is through social media. As you saw, Facebook is extremely, extremely effective. You cannot go wrong with that.
You really can't go wrong with Facebook for sure. It just doesn't take that. It just doesn't take that much time to get out to a lot of people, right?
Right.
Let's see here. I'm looking through the questions here. What is there in your experience with all these webinars? Is there a best price point for doing a webinar?
You know what? If you can sort of go middle of the road, let's say $497, that's good. But again, you have to consider also what you're selling. Now, if you're selling an ebook, $497 for an ebook, unless it solves the world's problems, is probably not a good idea. So you have to take a look at, the product or service that you're selling, and what people the value that they see in it, what they would be willing to pay for it.
Got it. Okay. And then here's another question is, I'm a professional. Could I do webinars as a professional?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the beauty of webinars, is anybody and everybody can do them. No one is exempt from doing webinars. It's everybody around the world, doesn't matter what your job is, your profession, everybody can do webinars.
Great. Okay, and then here's another one that just came in. Tell me more about how you can create a product from a competitor.
All right. So you know what? In order to do that, is you take a look at what your competitors are doing, and honestly, you improve upon it. That is the best way to do it. You study what they're doing, and you make it that much better.
Just do it better and differentiate yourself from the competition, and then
Right.
sell more than they do, and do a better job of marketing. Right.
Yep.
That's really what it comes down to. Think about this. You can. There are many competitive products out there. I mean, there's Coke and Pepsi. Those are two big brands, but obviously it started with one. I don't even know which was first. Probably Coke.
Yeah.
But if you can come up with another product, or the same product just branded differently with your spin on it and your expertise in it, now it becomes a different product. So it's not difficult to take other people's products and create your own from that, which makes a big difference. And now you can make some money. The other thing is that a lot of products out there don't have affiliate relationships. So if you actually create an affiliate system with your product, now you can have other people selling yours for you when normally they wouldn't be selling anybody's, but you can get out to the world much faster that way as well. I'm not actually seeing any more questions in the question box. It looks like we do have a few people that have joined you, Taryn, which is awesome. Well done. Do you have any last words to say before we end this?
You know what? I do. I want to thank you all for spending your most valuable commodity with me, which is your time. I have enjoyed this. I get very excited about this, obviously. I know the power of webinars. I've seen it. I want everybody to know it. I want everybody to take advantage of it and benefit from it. And you know what, guys? I look forward to seeing those of you who've joined in the membership area. And I look forward to showing you how you yourself can make webinars just change your life. So
Yeah,
thanks
and
again.
it really does. And Taryn, thank you so much for your content. And guys, let me just give you a little bit about what I did when I did my first webinar. I was selling a product that was $37, and then someone came along, a mentor said, "Look, you know, maybe you need to offer something more. So why don't you have a done-for-you service and charge $497?" Long story short, in my first webinar I ever did, I did just over 36,000 in revenue from one webinar, 36,000, and it was a $497 product. So you were talking, we did almost 100 sales with one webinar in 90 minutes. And guys, this is what it's about. If you are short on money, this is the fastest way to get out of that rut. If you are wanting to grow your business globally or nationally, and this is a faster way to get there, is by doing webinars. The other thing is that had I known how to do webinars back when I was in car wash equipment consulting, I could have done a lot more in revenue. I did about $7 million a year in revenue. I probably could have done triple that had I known how to do webinars back then. This is back in the early 2000s and before. But you know, webinar is a place to leverage your time, leverage money, and get the word out very quickly and make sales quickly, build your database. This is the place to do it. Taryn, you are the answer. There's no question. There's not another person on the planet that I know of that's done 15,000 webinars in 15 years. On top of that, done 50 webinars in the same day with the clientele list that you have. There's no one else I've ever heard of on the planet that works with the people that you do. And that was what was impressed me. Thank you so much for your information. Thank you for the content. Guys, I look forward to seeing you in Taryn's program, and let's do a JV. Once you're ready to go with these webinars, let's go out to my listing database with your products, and let's do some JVs, and all of us can make some money. Taryn, thank you so much. We'll go ahead and end the call now, and we'll talk to you all soon, maybe on another webinar or in the members area.
Alrighty, bye guys.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.